So now we're back to my own games. Examples from my games. I would love to tell you I was playing with the white pieces here. I'm not, okay? Playing with the black pieces. Now, if you've already looked at the study, I believe videos come first. It does. If you're looking at the study, you may want to... or rather, I've already spoiled the surprise if you looked at the study, but if you're just watching the video for the first time, you may want to pause here. And I'm about to disclose and explain who's better and why. So this is your moment to pause, analyze everything you know about evaluation, and try to guess. The only time you're going to get me live, right? Because the drills are the drills. They come later. So pause. I'll take a sip of my carafe, or flower vase, as my YouTube viewers like to call it. And, all right. Who is better? And what's going on? All right? White is better. Why? Material is equal. Okay? 7 pawns, queen knight, 2 rooks, equal. White's king is very safe. And I hope you understand that. I hope that's kind of clear. And if it's not clear, that's why you have me. Again, it all comes down to who can actually, tangibly, and seriously get to your king. That's what you need to think of. Just because this is here and this is here doesn't mean any of that is possible. The knight cannot even come out to meet the other pieces because this knight can take it. There is like some there are very abstract ways black can try to sacrifice and do this, but you need to not see ghosts. Just because you think you're gonna lose or you think there's a big attack doesn't mean there actually is one. Nobody really cares like what you think. I'm not saying I don't value your opinion. What I'm saying is your feelings in chess do not really make a difference. If you think there is something, you need to prove it, and if it doesn't exist, just because it feels scary, doesn't mean it's actually there. So white's king is actually quite safe. Now black's king, you might say, well, the same goes to black. I mean, how do I... Well, right, I had the black pieces. That's what I thought. My opponent was playing white, and my opponent also, as we're going to keep going here, has a better pawn structure. They have better pawns. Why? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all standing individually. Black, 1 pawn island on h5. Pawn island, you'll learn about more. Chapter 7 or 6? I think 7. Pawn island, no neighbors. Pawn island, no neighbors. This is a pawn island, and they are doubled. They are doubled pawns. They are doubled isolated pawns, which means they don't have a lot of mobility. They're stuck behind one another. Same thing here, doubled pawns, but at least they're clumped together. If this went to an endgame, my opponent would feast on my pawns. And the problem is, when pawns are like this, there's more open lines. Like, let's say for rooks, you can say, oh, look at this open line. But it's very hard to get help. It's very hard to get pawns to come here and open up the position, which would be really lovely. If I could move this pawn to the G file and have a G pawn to open up white's position, that would be a different story. Piece quality is also not the same. I would say this knight is quite good, but really a lot of this comes down to proving you have a better position, and white does have a better position because of the king safety, black's king in the center, the bad pawn structure, but this all comes down to proving it. And this position is a mixture of the attacking chapter, king in the center, the pawn play chapter, pawn breaks. And in this position, my opponent plays a very nice move. He can slow play with rook e1. He can try to get an endgame, try to trade queens. But d5 is an excellent move. My king is in the center of the board. I cannot move my e-pawn because I would get hit with double check. Double check. Cannot take the knight, and I would lose my queen. I cannot block because I'm checked. So seeing that made my opponent open up the position like this, and let's just see what happens after rook d5, queen d5. Wait a minute, is my opponent stupid? What is he doing? He lost the trade. Let's say I gave you this position. Maybe I should have given you this position. Who's better here? Hasn't black won a pawn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Isn't black just a pawn up? Isn't black just about to win a second pawn? Look at the position. There's no check. There's no check. Everything is covered. Well, what is my opponent doing? No. This position is much better for white, to the point that it's basically completely winning. Why? Why is it completely winning? Because white's pieces are extremely active and have very good future prospects because the black king is so weak and still in the center. White's knight absolutely trounces this knight. This knight is hoping to go here and trade, but in that time, as we saw in study 2, it takes too much time. White will infiltrate or jump there or just avoid it entirely. And time is what white needs to accomplish here. Time is on white's side. What you will learn in the piece utilization chapter is that just seeing things like this, many of you right now would see that and play b3 and completely extinguish your advantage. The advantage rests in the activity of white's pieces and the weakness of this king, which is why rook d1 is so important right now. Taking a2 and claiming your up 2 pawns is lunacy, because the checks are about to rain down. Not to mention, if white really wants, white will just win back the material like this. White can even give a check to force the king out that way. And it's not going to be pretty, okay? Not to mention, white also has queen c7 and queen e5 check, and the checks will continue, the beatings will continue. The material here means absolutely nothing. Nothing. The quality of the material is not there. All right? Just because you have a knight doesn't mean it's participating in the game like a knight should. So my opponent played this. Then my opponent played queen d3, creating a threat on the d8 square. And I tried to run away. My opponent stole my getaway square while also disallowing a lot of coordination. Again, knight g5 would have been great. It would have been wonderful to trade, but because my king is so weak in this position, my opponent would have simply played queen d8 check, which wins my rook, because my king is hanging and my rook is hanging. It all comes down to king safety. Black's position will never be solid because the king will be chased around. And look how safe white's king is. Even the move queen e1, getting here. So what? The knight covers. And the rook covers that. So the squares are completely defended. And in this position, I resigned. I resigned with black because he is threatening check, which would win my queen. And I either have to move my king or my queen, and I have no moves. If I play king to e8, he can still play rook d8 check and win my queen. And if I move my queen, he checks me and mates me. So this game from start to finish was a dominant effort by my opponent, who had a better position and converted it the correct way. Time is of the essence. If you just give one move of difference, white just plays one move slower, and black is able to trade like this, black's disadvantage plummets. Like, I cannot stress that enough. It plummets compared to what you saw in the game. White now no longer has the joker card of attacking the king. If white tries, it doesn't work. Take, rook d5, all this, just rook d1. I mean, black can play, like, I don't know, queen c6. Black has to be a little careful. Maybe let's just say queen c5. But this is no longer that scary. This is defended. Giving a check, black's king is safe. Once black's king is safe, the material now is in black's favor. And the more pieces you trade, the closer we get to an endgame. So I'm urging you all to understand that while a temporary snapshot of a position means that somebody is better, converting it matters. Advantage is right now, if and only if. It is predicated upon the fact that you find the right way forward. And what you learn throughout this course is how to find moves like d5, hopefully, to sense that time is everything, and you will learn to think about what the opponent wants as well. In this case, what the opponent wants is to trade off knights, trade off your better pieces, and save the king. Which in this game, my opponent didn't let me do, and completely destroyed me. So credit to Jose Martinez, the strong Peruvian grandmaster.